read your note, and I'd be happy to help you find the book you're looking for.
Thank you, Clive. But tracking it down will not be easy. Are you sure?
Please. You have always granted me your wisdom and insight whenever I asked. It's only right that I return the favor. Or at least attempt to.
You are too kind. Alas, what I ask of you is rather more trying than delivering the odd lecture. I spoke with Hippocrates to see if he had any inkling as to where another copy might be found, but... But perhaps it...
If you say so.
Forgive me, Clive, but this book, it set me on the path to becoming who I...
Clive, my boy.
Hippocrates. There's something I need to ask you. I've been charged with locating a book called From a Distance.
Then you seek a rare gem indeed. One whose name I had not thought to hear from your lips. You've been talking to Vivian.
Right as always. But she didn't seem keen to tell me very much. I take it she didn't like what you had to say.
And yet I gather it did naught to dissuade her. Clive, if the young professor has tasked you with obtaining a copy, I fear she asks the impossible. The executors would not allow it.
The executors?
Coveters of Secrets, a clandestine organization committed to the collection and intenebration of forbidden texts and technologies. One such text being the tome Vivian seeks, chronicling as it does the true history of the enslavement of bearers, a tale which could overturn the established order were it ever to become widely known. Or, so rumor has it. I've never actually read the thing, or even set eyes on it for that matter.
How is it that I haven't heard of this organization?
Why, secrecy is the executor's watchword. They lurk in the shadows, emerging only to seize that which must be seized, be it books, inventions, or people, before disappearing again, leaving nary a trace.
Which would explain why Vivian's copy was snatched from her grasp not long after she found it.
By the hand of the executors, yes.
But what drives them? Self-interest or ideology?
A fine question. Sadly, all that is known of the executors can be recounted in a single breath. You may just as soon ask me of their origins, numbers, or the identities of their leaders.
Then my hunt was doomed from the first. What was Vivian expecting? That I'd pluck it from thin air?
Not from thin air, no. Rumors of the executors are rife among the scholars of Storm, but rather less so across the strait. I had a friend in the village of Garnick, a collector of rare tomes. Alas, I have heard naught from him since the skies fell dark. And no doubt he too has turned. But though he did not mention it by name, it is possible that a surviving copy of From a Distance yet rests upon one of his many shelves, quietly awaiting discovery. If you were, by some chance, able to save even a single book from the poor man's library, I know his soul would rest easier.
Very well. I'll be sure to pay Garnick a visit.
Say what you will, Lady Karen has seen her.
Pining for something, boy. What is it? What do you see out there? I never did ask where you got that anklet of yours.
From Sid, that's why. On the day he brought him home.
That long ago?
And you're only thinking to ask this now? Sid saw that the pup had a habit of gnawing on his leg, since you ask. Clap that there iron on him to keep him from doing it.
What was wrong, boy?
I'll take like as not. Must have been hard on the poor whelp losing his loving masters at such a young age. Doubly hard in being a frost wolf, torn away from his icons and all. Sid would always tell him, you want that iron gone, you find what it is you're looking for. I reckon what he were looking for was you.
I'm sorry, Torgal. Sorry for making you wait so long. Let's get that thing off you.
Doesn't sound like he wants it off.
Indeed. You miss Sid as much as the rest of us, don't you? You want me to go with you somewhere?
Quick, aren't you? Glad you've been...
Not nearly as much as you have, Lady Karen.
Aye, good thing and all. It's not like Gav would have kept him in nuts and rubbed his belly these past 10 summers.
Your kindness is appreciated.
Only because he doesn't talk back like the rest of you. Go on.
Where to then, Torgal? All right, Torgal. Where are you taking me? I'm going to need a little bit more than that, boy. Do you have a better hint for me? Unless... you've already given me one. Back on the rear deck, you were looking west, toward Rosaria. Why don't we try the rookery? I haven't been to the island in... To Port Isolde, then. Fingers crossed the old mooring is still there. Farewell. The entire village looks abandoned. Now, which house would a bookworm live in? This is a Royal Army logbook. Did he take this from the... local barracks? This is it. But if what it says is true, I need to get this back to the hideaway.
Leaving so soon, stranger? We've been watching you. From a distance, so to speak.
Subtle. I know who you are.
Then we need not waste time on introductions. Hand me the book. Leave it in our care and return to your life.
Your care? Do you mean to burn it or bury it?
That is not my decision to make. But by one means or another, its contents shall be removed from the common record.
Then I'll have to politely refuse. I won't let you erase our history.
Then we find ourselves at an impasse. Very well. The book can just as easily be pried from your dead hand.
Let's see, shall we? Too slow. Nice try.
Impressive. But we have other means. We shall...
Why do you want it so badly anyway?
It lays out in no uncertain terms the vanity and avarice of mankind. It tells the shameful history of the persecution and oppression of a gifted few by a giftless many. Would you say that this interpretation was correct?
I don't know.
You don't know. Your sword may be sharp, but your wits are dull. So let me answer for you. There is no correct interpretation of history. That a series of events took place may be proved beyond a doubt. It is a question of numbers and of belief. If enough people believe that a set of events occurred for a reason, that belief becomes the truth.
So you're trying to control the truth?
We are trying to protect people from themselves, from knowledge that would bring them naught but pain. That is all. You may keep the book, for now. The world is small. We shall meet again. Until then.
Wait! Damn it. Let's get this back to Vivian. Perhaps she can explain what that was all about.
Do you see that too?
What is it? Please, just make it stop. I'm scared.
It's all right.
Can't be Rutherford, can it?
Turncoats and cowards, the lot of you! If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you shall have!
Allow me.
I don't need your...
Please, Field Marshal, oblige him.
This won't take long.
You're right. It won't. Men, finish him.
A little longer than I'd have liked. Field Marshal Havel, I presume. Are either of you injured?
No, my lord. You arrived just as our escort turned on us.
Fucking traitors. I'd heard reports of soldiers in the outlying regions abandoning the oaths they swore. But I hadn't thought the corruption had reached so close to the heart of the Republic. It's a fucking disgrace. Your interfering old bastard of an uncle tried to warn me, of course. My lord Marquis. Or is Sid the Outlaw more to your liking?
Call me what you want. It doesn't change who I am, or the urgency of the message I bring. My uncle has a plan to right the realm, and he needs your help to see it through.
Before I agree to anything, I'd have you answer one question. What do you stand to gain from all this?
I won't deny that I might benefit from further chaos. But I seek a new beginning for all of us. And while the choices I've made may not always have been the right ones, I know I made them for the right reasons. For so long, so many of us have been told how we could live, how we could die, when it should have been our decision all along. Now we have a chance to put things right. But in order to take it, we must stand together. Even if it be beside those with whom we don't see eye to eye.
Certainly not the words I expected from an outlaw. But perhaps your uncle was right. You are no ordinary outlaw. I'll never hear the end of this. All right. I'll start by ordering my most trusted guard to bring the Dalmekian fringes under control. Next, I'll make contact with my counterparts in the Imperial Army and see if I can't convince them to try and restore order in their own territory.
Thank you, Field Marshal.
But they are not the only ones we will need to convince.
What do you mean?
I don't doubt that I can bully some sense into a few generals. But those they answer to require a different kind of persuasion. We will need an envoy. One who can court even the most stubborn of statesmen.
I'm flattered. And I have other problems to attend to. What we need is a skilled arbitrator.
Is that so? And would he happen...
Of a different kind, perhaps.
Beggars can't be choosers. I suppose we'll all have to find a little of the outlaw in ourselves if we're to make it through this. Very well. Send your man to me right away.
I shall.
My Lord Marquis. Your Lord Uncle bade me escort the Field Marshal.
And I will see that my associate joins you there.
Very good, my lord.
An envoy. I can barely convince my brother to take his medicine. No. Someone like Quentin. I hope I can convince him at least. Quentin, I have a proposal for you.
Do you now? Something tells me you'll be asking more of me than a cask of Gotand gold. Go on then. Propose. You'd have me convince the chiefs and chamberlains of the realm that they should simply swallow their pride and do the one thing that has proved impossible for thousands of years. Was there anything else? Perhaps I can fetch you a meat pie as well.
I know it's a lot to ask, but I can think of none better suited to the role.
And you'd have me give up what little I have left to do it. I told you, Clive. The people of Lostwing are my family, and I cannot abandon them. You'll have to find someone else.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So am I.
And why might that be?
What he's asking. How's it any different to what you've done so far? They want you to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's what you do best. If it's the vineyard you're worried about, we'll see that the grapes are picked and the tons filled. You know we will.
It's not that.
Then what is it? You said yourself we're family. Don't you trust us?
You know that's not what I'm...
Then what are you saying? That only we are worth saving? Why turn your back on everyone else? You convinced us we could build new lives for ourselves, and if you can do that, who's to say you couldn't convince the entire realm?
A stirring argument. I fear that any rejoinder I make might fall somewhat flat by comparison.
So you'll join us?
Where do you need me?
Field Marshal Havel will want to speak with you in person. He's currently in Port Isolde. I can arrange for a party of Cursebreakers to accompany you there.
That would be very much appreciated. I hear the roads are far from safe these days.
Hopefully not for long. My uncle will want to know that his plan is taking shape. It's still here. After all these years. A lot smaller than I remember. And you're a lot bigger. You might have to swim, boy. I wasn't being serious. This place hasn't changed at all. The rookery's right through those trees. Come on. Race you there? I bet I could still beat you. Here we are. This was our hideaway. Wasn't it, Torgal? Coming here helped me to forget who I was. Or wasn't. Prince, Shield. Son his mother could love. Had I been any one of those things? Perhaps. What is it, boy? This is all from the castle. And Phoenix Gate. Did you bring these here? My sparring sword. Well. You never stopped looking for me, did you, boy? Thank you, Torgal, for never giving up, for never forgetting. Let's take this with us, shall we? So I don't forget either. That's not the way back to the boat, Torgal. All right. I'm coming. I think I know where we're going. People always talk about the importance of putting the past behind you. But without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. And we certainly couldn't steer our way to a better tomorrow. Come on, Torgal. Let's go home. Uncle, I bring good news. The Field Marshal has agreed to your plan.
Ha! Of course he has. I didn't doubt you for a moment, dear boy.
Rutherford is accompanying him back to your manor in Port Isolde as we speak. They will await your return there. As will one other.
One other? Who, exactly?
Lord Havel was concerned that even if he could get the realm's armies to agree to an accord, he might not be as successful in convincing those with political power. He asked if I might have a solution, and I suggested a certain Imperial Lord Magistrate turned Liberator.
One of your co-conspirators?
Master Quinton would probably call me one of his, but yes.
Another outlaw, then. Just the thing we need to put these rotten politicos in their places. Good thinking, Clive.
I'm glad you approve.
The more the merrier, eh?
Uncle, assuming Havel and Quinton can solve our problem with the armies, you still haven't mentioned how we might manage the grain shortages.
Oh, don't you worry, my boy. The 7 high houses will be seeing to that. They have all agreed to make the most generous of donations. Oh, of course, it did take a little persuasion, but luckily I had some unexpected help.
From who?
Why, you, my boy. Rumor has it that you rescued the Lady Ariane's head steward Rockford from a horde of bloodthirsty bandits.
It was more of a handful.
Well, the old battle axe was so pleased. She had a shipload of talents delivered to my private docks by the next new moon. And when the other houses saw the parsimonious old crone's purse strings finally loosen, they as good as tripped over themselves in the rush to follow suit.
I'm happy to hear it.
Now, I must be getting back to the manor. Join us there at your earliest convenience, would you?
Of course, Uncle.
And how, pray tell, will we get that grain to the capital if the roads are still overrun with akashic?
You'll find another bloody road. I only have so many men, and I'm not about to send them headlong into an ether flood. That is, unless you'd have them turn as well.
Well, I'd certainly eat less.
Says the man with a belly bigger than a band of curls. My soldiers actually need their rations. Without any food to keep them going, they'll be dead even before you've sent them on your fool's errand.
If I may, gentlemen, perhaps I might suggest an alternative approach. Though supply routes are indeed disrupted, there is no shortage of ships. Indeed, they bob away in every bay from here to Randalar, awaiting a safe haven. Allow them to make port and fill their bellies full of grain. And once those who crowd the cities are fed, ferry the displaced back to the countryside to work the fallow fields. But I'm sure that you wish to continue your discussion. Forgive the interruption. 2 such firm friends as yourselves need no help from the likes of me. Rutherford spoke fondly of the great bond between you.
Us? Friends?
I can't stand the man.
Clive, I'm beginning to question the quality of the company you keep.
And what kind of company were you expecting him to keep? The man's a criminal.
Criminal? How dare you? You are not fit to breathe the same air as this fine, upstanding young gentleman.
Upstanding? He calls himself Sid the bloody outlaw.
Once more onto the breach.
Shall we begin again? What we seek here is not to create a new nation, nor to claim the thrones of those that already exist. We wish simply to bring stability to the realm that mankind might weather the current storm. And to do that, we must convince those in power, the generals, the statesmen, the nobles, that our cause is just. There will be disagreements, yes, and I imagine some resistance, much resistance. But we cannot let that deter us. If we show them the path, show them that we walk it ourselves, then I am confident they will follow. The fate of the world lies in my nephew's hands, but the well-being of her people lies in ours. And we must not squander the chance that Clive has given us.
Uncle Byron,
Now, with that settled, let's move on to the signing of the Accord. For what great moment in history hasn't been accompanied by a little ceremony? Citizens of Valisthea, I present to you the Triunity. Rutherford, Mike Will. Well, my boy, the stage is set.
that it is.
This is the role you were born for. Now I ask only that you trust in the talents of your supporting cast. We shall play our parts to the best of our abilities, that you might have the opportunity to shine. The realm needs its Sir Crandall. And there is no better Crandall than you, Clive. I want you to keep this signed accord as proof of our faith in you.
I will. Thank you, Uncle.
What do you think that thing is?
Vivian. I found it. The book you lost.
You found it. Thank you, Clive. Even though I asked this of you, I was not entirely sure it would be possible. I feared the executors had seized every copy.
I met with one of these executors, and I convinced him to let me keep it. He told me something. That the truth is just a matter of collective belief. And that if enough people believe a lie, that lie becomes the truth.
It does. But it also means that the truth is not immutable. That it can be changed. Provided that those who wish to change it can convince enough people that their perspective is the correct one. As the sad history of the bearers proves.
You said that the book inspired you to become a scholar.
It did. Or its author, rather. She was a heretic, you see. A firebrand and a dissenter. A gallows stood ready for her in every corner of the realm. And by shunning society, or perhaps being shunned by it, she stumbled upon a truth so potent that an entire realm trembled at the prospect of its utterance. I, too, have always felt somehow set apart from the world of men. A stranger to my own species. She taught me that my solitude was not a curse, but a gift. And that, though my journey to the truth might be a lonely one, what I found at my destination would be more than worth the cost.
Do you still feel that way? That you're not one of us?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure anymore. Since coming to the hideaway, I find my thinking somewhat clouded. Perhaps the result of studying mankind from a rather closer perspective than I had intended. But the more I study, the more I find value in this perspective. In looking not from the outside, but from within. So if you'll permit me, I'd like to continue my work here. Remember, Clive, when enough people believe, belief begets truth. Give the men and women of this benighted world the gift of truth. Make them believe in you, as I do.
I'll try, Vivian. I'll try.
Ah, I wasn't expecting you back so soon. Your benefactors are a generous lot. All yours. All done?
Clive. Allow me to educate you. One must understand one's place in the world.
Sid, I was wondering.
It depends what with.
A bearer, but recently freed from his bonds, is keen to join the Curse Breakers. As you know, the work we do is not easy, which is why we test every volunteer's suitability.
I don't mind, but...
Because he wants to be. Our ranks are filled with men and women capable of breaking chains and putting slavers to the sword. But scouting, we're few with the nose for that, which is what. And since he accompanies you on so many of your missions, I thought you might be better placed to recognize the traits in him that we should look for in those with.
Sounds reasonable.
So you're happy to oversee the boys' test, then?
One can never have too many
Truer words, Sid. I'll let the initiate know that you'll be attending his trial, and then...
No time like the present, eh?
No time like the present. I'll await you there.
Northreach. I don't suppose they could have chosen somewhere closer.
Sid, do you have a...
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. And something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were...
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives. And even better for her. Bearers with no one to look after them. When Ether...
Leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your... And while I'm well aware that you've forbidden curse breakers from traveling, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, and we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There, Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. The thought of him held captive in that...
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit walls. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only...
As do I, Doris.
Ah, Clive.
Joshua, what's wrong?
I've received word from Cyril. The Undying have found Father's will.
Or his will?
In the crypt beneath Rosalith Castle. After Kupka was kind enough to drive out the Imperials, the Undying took the opportunity to recover what relics of the Duchy yet remained. And in the process of doing so...
I'm surprised anything survived down there.
Cyril asked that I join him in Tabor at my convenience. I have been meaning to go.
Of course. I want to know what's in that letter as much as you do.
Very well.
Azir might at least have mentioned where in Northreach he'd be testing this recruit.
And who'll pay for that?
I'm nervous.
Well met, Sid. This is the Initiate. Ember, present yourself.
At your service, Master.
Please, just Sid. There are no masters here.
Oh, of course. Thank you. The sergeant says you'll be evaluating me at my trial.
To become a scout, yes. You are aware of the danger.
I am. But I swore I'd face them.
And who would that be?
Gav. It was him who found me and freed me. No magic, no support, just one man and his nose. Came and sniffed me out. It taught me what one man can do if he puts his mind to it. And I've been training ever since, so that one day,
I'm sure you clearly have good intentions, Ember. And it sounds like...
So...
You haven't even started yet. Not far from here is an Imperial lookout, Eastwatch. The guards there record all their sightings in a logbook. You are to find it and bring it here.
And bring it here, right.
No. Sneaking into a heavily guarded Imperial outpost and stealing the... You'll need to assess the situation, determine a point of entry, create a distraction and effect an escape, all without being discovered and thrown into an Imperial oubliette.
Ember, Gav isn't our best scout because he can do everything.
Know my limits, right. I won't let you down.
It shouldn't be as dangerous as I made out.
On my way. All right, Ember. Impress me. These are clean kills. Perhaps young Ember really is ready. Or maybe not. Damn it.
Ember, draw your sword!
I can't!
Then run!
If you want him, you'll have to go through me. Nice try. Ember. Gone. Of course. Scouts really are a rare breed. Back to Northreach it is, then.
I didn't... Where is Ember?
He must have fled. He was just standing there. Didn't even draw his sword. He was nowhere to be seen.
I knew the boy had a nervous streak, but...
The right man for the... I believe this is the logbook you tasked me...
Don't you tell me you breached the tower while Sid was
What? Wasn't that to bring the thing back without getting caught?
He has you then, his heir. And he did it...
But Sid, he
did what he thought was best. And now I have to decide whether I agree.
Of course. Don't you leave my sight.
Yes, Sergeant.
This won't be an easy decision. Doris is waiting for me near Balmung Dark. The longer she's out in the open, the more likely she is to be found by a Kashik. I need to hurry. There were no guards, I take it?
None manning the gates, no. It's a different story inside, though. The corridors are crawling with the Kashik. Most likely guards left behind when the wardens ran. If Chadwick was being held here, I worry that he may already be.
Don't give up hope just yet. But let me check the ground floor. The ether stick is there.
Then I'll search the upper level. Good luck, Sid.
Just how bad are the floods inside the walls? Bad enough to turn a bearer? I hope not. We're risking a lot just being here. Gotta keep my eyes open for signs of life. So this place was no ordinary prison. And I doubt they'll have taken the creature with them when they fled. Minimal loss of Waluda lives. Even the Imperials take better care of their branded than that. They were feeding bearers to it. Nothing but a caching down here. Hopefully things are looking better upstairs. I should go and see how Doris is getting on. No lock downstairs. But I did find...
I know. I've been reading some of these documents and... it can't be true, can it? Bearers die every day in service of their masters, but pitting bearers against a wild beast armed with nothing but their wits? And not just those who could fight, but the elderly, children, and those who wouldn't or couldn't were disposed of. Whatever that means.
I'm afraid it means they were fed to the monstrosity they kept here.
Then we're too late. And I was a fool to bring you here.
Don't say that.
A key. But it doesn't fit any of the locks on this floor.
Perhaps it will fit one of the doors downstairs. There's a... Finish up here, then come and find me when you're ready.
All right.
Let's see what we can find down here. A survivor. And she sounds close. need to be afraid. Are you alone? Are there any other survivors?
Some of the guards, they're still here. But something's wrong with them. Everyone else was eaten by the monster.
Of course there were.
Thank the Founder.
It was worth our coming. But I'd rather we didn't linger. Are you ready?
Ready when you are. You poor thing. He must have been terrified.
Did Chadwick send you?
What?
He fought the monster. Distracted it so I could run away. He must have sent you. He promised to free the others too. Where is he? He opened your cell, didn't he? He wouldn't be here otherwise.
Chadwick.
Was that?
Monster's back! Chadwick, help!
We have to get out of here.
Doris, keep the girl safe.
All right.
It's out there waiting for me. I can't let it live. Not if it's got a taste for bearers. The beast will wreak havoc if it ever leaves the prison. I can't let that happen. Finally.
Sid, are you hurt?
I'm fine. I think. What is it?
A diary. I gave it to Chadwick before we went our separate ways. He was here. Do you think that creature?
I'm sure he fought bravely to the last. The girl is...
Chadwick. You fool.
Come on. We have to get her back to the hideaway. We don't want his sacrifice to have been in vain.
No. Of course not. I'll see that she's looked after from now on. It's the least I can do.
From what I hear, you've barely left the girl's side in days. I hope she's recovering from her ordeal.
She is. Slowly but surely. She's far tougher than she looks. I thank the flames we found her. If we hadn't...
I know. But we did. I'm sorry we weren't able to save Chadwick.
There's no need to apologize. Without you, how he fought to the bitter end to save her. To save Heidemann. That's the man I remember. The man I thought of as...
I wish I could have met him. I'd like to hear more about your past.
Of course. You already met my former master. She trained Chadwick and I to do two things. Kill and obey. We were supposed to be sold to the highest bidder when the time came. But no bid was ever high enough to convince her to part with us. For years, we were her daggers in the shadows. But we could never quite shake our doubts about the things she made us do. And then, one day, we just couldn't do them anymore. So we escaped. But staying together was out of the question. They would have found us too easily. After so many years of training, the pull to serve was always strong. It scared me to think he might have taken another master, become a dagger in someone else's hand.
But even in captivity, the battles he fought were his own. And he died not as someone's tool, but as a hero.
Heidemann is proof of that. Bearers can cast off their shackles. And the Cursebreakers will show them how. I'll fight until my dying breath to see it done. For Chadwick, and for all of us.
Thank you, Doris. We'll be counting on you.
You should have...
Welcome back, Sid.
Welcome back, Sid.
Yes. Welcome back. Trip wasn't too much of a pain in the arse, I hope. Truth be told, it was me who suggested roping you in to help with the trial. But from what I hear, things didn't go quite as planned.
No, they most certainly did not. Ember lost his nerve in the face of a beast of prey, but he didn't lose heart. He pressed on, and he had...
Indeed it is. Thank you for your... The fact remains, however, that Ember will not always have a battle-hardened warrior on hand. All I have gleaned from this trial is that without someone watching his back, Ember is little more...
Wait, Sergeant. And this time he was found wanting. After all, he did do...
With a bit of hard work, any hand can be made to hold a blade. And any mind can conquer its fears. But a scout's nose is different. You've either got one, or you ain't. And by sniffing out that log, young Ember here has shown he has a conch and a half. Wouldn't do to waste it now, would it?
Fine. One more chance.
I'll do whatever you ask. I'll spend my days and nights in the pit if I have to. I'll show you. Just you wait.
Daft as a brush, that one. But his heart's in the right place. Just like someone else we know. And if you ask me, we've been leaning on him for far too long. That time the curse breakers took some of the weight off his shoulders, I reckon.
It couldn't hurt.
Just don't tell Gav I said so, will you? I won't have him thinking he's been hard done by. Next thing you know, he'll be asking for a day off. Chance would be a fine thing. Back to work.
Forgive me, Sid. This did not play out as I expected.
Things really do these days. But that's why we need men like Ember more than ever. Men who can make the best out of a bad situation. Remember that.
I will, Sid. Thank you.
What do you think happened to Miss...
Sid, you have to help us.
With what? You didn't take apart another of Mid's contraptions, did you?
No. Well, yes, but that's not what we want to talk to you about.
It's Miss Mididol. She's been acting strange. Very strange. She's barely ever around.
And when she is, she acts like we aren't even there. Her head's in a crowd.
In the clouds.
That's what I said. In the clouds.
Well, she does have a lot on her mind. When did you last see her?
Not long ago. Right after she got back from saving you from Stoneir.
Then it's probably just about the Enterprise. It did take quite a battering on the way there and back.
You didn't break it, did you, Sid? You really should be more careful around Miss Mididol's inventions. Don't listen to her. Even if you did break the Enterprise, you could put it back together, couldn't you?
But who's gonna put Miss Mididol back together? She seems really sad.
Why don't I go and see if I can cheer her up?
You do that? For us? She's in her dungeon.
Don't scare him. It's not a real dungeon.
Thanks for the warning.
I will not let them be fooled. Sid.
Of course.
It is an honor to finally speak with you. My name is Herman. I've been with the Cursebreakers for some time now, and I wish to be deployed to Ash.
No. The lands across... I will not send good men and women to risk their lives needlessly. Why would you want to go back?
I need to retrieve something. I was raised in an orphanage. The Badbach Conservatory. Or rather, I was held captive there. It was not a place of nurture. It existed solely to turn bearer children into... We were tortured until we feared no pain. Tormented until our hearts turned to stone. And few ever survived long enough to become tools of the last king.
I can't imagine.
I lost so many. I can't even remember all their names, but they must be remembered. They cannot fade away. The Institute was run with military precision. Every child measured, every name recorded, every death logged. with meticulous care. Cid, allow me to travel to Ash and...
You are a good friend, Herman, but the fact remains that Ash is simply too...
Cid, please.
Too dangerous for you, Herman. I'll go to Bad Bach and find the...
You will?
I won't let you risk your life.
I don't know.
You can start by telling me where I'll find this...
Vida Grace. Hidden in a forest.
All right.
May the mothers...
Has Midadol mentioned a new project yet?
Mid.
That's it! I knew it! The answer was right here under my arse all along! If this doesn't steer to the skies...
To the skies? You aren't trying to give the Enterprise wings, are you?
What else would I be doing?
The children seem to think you're avoiding them. Is this really so important that you need to shut yourself...
The Enterprise is already the fastest ship in the realm, and that's with the sea beneath her. But what if she weren't bound to the waves? What if she weren't... It's not fair. The gods get the skies all to themselves, so... I'm gonna do... The Fallen had their chance, but they relied too much on magic. But not me. I've discovered how to do it without... Well, almost. First, I need to make a prototype.
And is that a one-woman job?
Are you volunteering? But if her godfather's offering to lend a hand, I'd be happy to take it. First, I'll need oil, and not just some old drippings from Miss Molly's spits in the Tub and Crown. Refined stuff, like they make in Ordil. Then I'll need some bone, or shell. Light, strong,
If it's beast bones you're after.
No, they'll know where you might find some. You're...
I should speak with one of the curse breakers before I set off for Old Hill. See if I can't find this bone while I'm there as well.
All right, Cid. Come to buy us around, have you?
Only if you earn it. Mid needs a piece of light but durable bone for her next project. You've encountered your share of beasts on...
Most bones are the same. Whack 'em hard enough and they'll break. If it's durability you're looking for, shell will serve you.
I do. And I know to give them a wide berth. Will any old adamantist...
Well, with shells, the older the harder. There's a rumour of an ancient adamantist, but don't expect to make quick work of the bastard. There's a reason it's lived as long as it has.
I'll keep that in mind.
Your Grace, my lord, I trust your journey was not overly onerous. Cyril, you found a letter from Father? Yes, I have it here. If you would do us the honor, my lord.
An inheritance.
It would seem the late Archduke penned this missive shortly before his passing.
The day before we left for Phoenix Gate.
What are these plans he spoke of? His plans for the duchy, Your Grace. Your father entrusted them to my predecessor, the former bearer of the Burning Quill.
who entrusted them in turn to me. The complete emancipation of bearers is their stated aim. But your father's dream did not end there. His Grace also spoke of building hospices to care for those stricken by the curse, and the founding of a new university to further the development of non-magical technologies. With the blight spreading ever more widely across the twins, Archduke Elwyn saw this as the only means of securing Rosaria's survival.
He wished to see men and bearers treated as equals. To see centuries of common wisdom overturned. Small wonder he did not think it achievable within his lifetime.
But he thought it achievable nonetheless. Had he not, he would never have written this message. Nor would he have entrusted his vision to his most faithful aides, those who would have stood with you, shielded you from the machinations of the less benevolent personages at court.
It's a pity only they are still with us.
'Tis true that those most loyal to your father were the first to suffer the Duchess's wrath. But one at least remains.
What do you mean?
Mayhap it is better that she explain, my lord. After all, the duties entrusted to me by my predecessor.
And where is this woman?
She awaits you in the...
Thank you, Cyril. Shall we then?
My lord, your grace. I hardly recognize you. I am Goditha, retainer of House Rosfield, loyal servant to the Phoenix and his shields. Your father, the Archduke Elwyn, entrusted me with the delivery of a gift. I only hope you can forgive my tardiness in bringing it to you.
Lift up your head, Lady Goditha. You have our gratitude for your service to our house and to our father.
I merely did my duty, as any proud Rosarian would.
My lady, perhaps you could explain a little more? What exactly is the gift you bring?
As I'm sure you know, it has long been the custom for the children of House Rosfield to be presented with certain keepsakes upon their coming of age.
Indeed it has. Our father often spoke of the day when our turn would come.
And had he lived to see it, he would have presented you with the treasures I bear. Matching armbands for you both. Alas, he did not live. Indeed, he was taken from us even before they could be completed. He had intended to claim the Heartstone with which each armband was to be finished himself, but it was not to be. And his gifts remain incomplete.
I see.
It saddens me to bring them before you. It was your father's wish that you be presented with the finish, but with his grace long since gone, and the stone left unclaimed, I had little choice. You are grown men now. And while I would not presume to insist upon your claim, I know that nothing would have pleased him more than...
Thank you, Lady Goditha.
What say you, Clive?
What else? Of course, my lady.
Oh, I am much obliged.
Do you know where we might find this Heartstone, my lady?
I do. Though it may be a matter of a good deal more than simply happening upon it. It is found in the bellies of elder griffins, you see. We do at least know where to find one. A certain
specimen?
You are most perceptive, Your Grace. In fact, this is the very same beast your father meant to slay. Were you to slay it in his stead, as men of House Rosfield?
What say you, Joshua?
What else? Titan's Wake is to the south of here.
Eyes peeled, Joshua. There it is. The House Rossfield. Is this the Heartstone?
Oh, thank the Founder you were safe. The Griffin is slain then?
And the Heartstone claimed.
Yes, this radiant luster like frozen flame. It is just as your father described it. Thank you, my lord. Your grace. Your father would be...
Lady Goditha.
Thank you, Cyril. If you would excuse me, I shall have the stone cut and set... The armbands are complete. Pray. Heartstone is harder and more enduring than garnet, or even ruby. It symbolizes unwavering will and devotion. And the graven vines encircling the stone represent the unbreakable bonds between you.
It's a message. Father knew we had enemies who would thwart his vision. Only
if we stood together, as Phoenix and Shield.
Indeed. His Grace knew the enormity of the task he would entrust to you, but this was more than just a message. It was a promise.
Thank you, Lady Goditha, for remaining the steadfast custodian of our father's will.
Forgive me, my lady, but there is something I don't quite understand. The Undying told me that after Father died, Mother claimed all of the ducal treasures for her own. Even if the armbands were incomplete, she would surely not have overlooked them. So...
Because I was the keeper of the vault. Though I was but a lowly servant, your father spoke to me of his intentions for the bands, of the deep love he had for both of you. In the days before the disaster at Phoenix Gate, I discovered that the Duchess had ordered her jewelry be sent away from the castle. I tried to warn your father, but it was too late. When word of the fire reached Rosalith, I knew my time was short. So I
And thank the Founder you did.
Yet my duty to your father was incomplete. Not knowing what else to do, I followed the Griffin, and so my pursuit continued. Until Lord Cyril appeared before me. He informed me that His Grace's will had been recovered.
Lady Goditha, on behalf of my father...
As do I.
Thank you, my lord, for coming back to us. Forgive him.
The bands suit you well. It must be gratifying to finally receive the inheritance that was denied you for so long.
It is. And we thank you.
If you would permit me to play my part a little longer, might I suggest that you make your way to your father's memorial atop Hawk's Cry Cliff? Let him see that you have received his...
I suppose it would be churlish not to. What do you say, Clive? Should we pay Father?
I think we should. I was hoping to be able to offer him my thanks.
Your father's helm is enshrined there. Since the day we recovered it from I prithee claim it. For it too is a part of your inheritance, and I do not doubt that your father would prefer it in your hands than perched upon some lonely rock.
Thank you, Cyril. Come on, Clive. He's waiting.
Good girl. Fly, Ambrosia. Here we are again. Carava. If you were a tortoise, Torgor, where would you hide? Straight home now. It looks like we found him. Mid needs an up. Mid's well. After what happened here, it's a miracle there was any left at all. I better get these materials to Mid so she can finish her prototype.
Unwavering will and an unbreakable bond. Do you really think we're strong enough?
To save the world? Of course. To have overcome Father's political enemies. I'm less certain. Especially knowing what we know now. Father was truly capable. But perhaps these bands would have helped. Knowing he was with us would have made all the difference. You're finished! Enough!
It's just back there. Father always fought for what he believed was right. It wasn't until that night at Phoenix Gate that I realized I had never fought for anything. I always had someone else to do the fighting for me.
No matter how fate conspired against him, he never lost heart, never looked back, never stopped fighting. To me, he was the greatest of men. And I've been trying to live up to his ideals ever since.
We all have, Clive. We all have. And we'll keep trying. Because that's what he would have wanted.
What he would have done himself. Even if it meant standing against the very gods in the heavens.
I shall be borrowing this, Father, if I may. That you might watch over us as we follow in your footsteps.
We won't lay you down.
Onward then?
Onward. To the end.
And to a new beginning.
Mid, tell me this is all you need.
Aw, you make it sound like I asked you to save the world or something.
Tell me...
It's most of what I need. After you... and a cogwheel. Just a tiny gear's that small or a bastard to make, and I may have lost...
Wait. The children... When they took apart your now that I think about it,
The young'uns? But why would they... I'll keep working on the model. You go and find that cog.
Sid! Is Mid still...
She wasn't hiding. She's just busy working on her next project.
A new invention? Or is it an airship?
Do you think she'll let us help?
That just so happens to be why I'm here. A brass gear. A tiny one.
Oh, the one you forgot!
We saved it, just in case.
Since your lesson, we've been disassembling, then all the pieces that are left over, we keep under our beds.
That's...
Look! I found it! Is that all? Just the gear?
That's all for now. But I'll let Mid know.
Thanks, Sid.
Has Midadol mentioned a new project yet?
Well?
They did.
Will it work? He's perfect!
What exactly are you going to use it for?
Only the most important job of all. The wings aren't going to move on their own. But with the right cog in the right place... Well... That should do it. Here goes nothing. Titan's tits.
It wasn't supposed to fly, was it?
Of course it was supposed to fly. Wouldn't be much of an airship if it didn't. Honestly, these bloody engines are driving me mad. I was so sure this would be the day she soared. The Mithril engine was made to make dreams come true. But maybe this is one dream the world's better off without. Show folk how to take flying. It won't be long till they're raining death down on each other. People will lose their homes, children, their mums and their dads. Like I lost mine.
I'm sorry.
So am I, Clive. So am I. Sorry that I have to choose. Do I follow my head, or do I follow my heart?
Good question. The first time I stood on the deck of your ship, felt the wind in my hair. It was like I was flying. But imagine how it would feel to actually do it.
My dad always said there were two ways of living life. Chasing a dream or shuffling to your grave. And he were right. Right about a lot of things. Not that I like to admit it. People need dreams to chase. Especially in a world like this. Right. When this is over, I'm gonna take all my Mithril engines to Zemeckis and sling them over the edge. I won't have my dream end up turning into someone else's nightmare.
But all that hard work...
All that hard work will not be used for war, Jamie. But it ain't like it'll be gone. Tell me, Clive, have you ever been on a treasure hunt?
Not since Joshua and I were boys. Why do you ask?
Because I'm gonna bury the engine schematics and leave behind a little riddle telling people where to find them. A really hard one, so that only the most dedicated dreamers will ever be able to work it out. Ooh, I can picture it now. Some daft general squinting at the words with a gormless expression on his mug. Like that one, yeah.
Right.
Of course, if I'm putting this engine at the end of a treasure hunt, I'll still need to make it a treasure worth hunting for. Won't be much of a prize if it couldn't even make a toy boat fly after all. My dad, but it ain't the size of a dream that's important, is it, Clive? Only that, and I reckon I've got a fair few good uns left in me.
I'm sure you do.